Thank you very much, Mark. It's a real honor for me to be with you today. Hi to everybody. I would like, first of all, of course, to thank Rory, Rosita, Transport Events, and Port Réunion for inviting me to participate to this webinar today. Mark, you have given a thorough presentation of my experience. When I was invited to join you today, I asked myself, wow, how can I say, share my experience in such a way that the participants will understand that coming from an island myself, having lived in the Indian Ocean, having worked in the Indian Ocean, how I became what I am today, basically. And I think that this is thanks to the experience that I forged along the way in these areas. So I decided to go ahead in this respect through a note to myself, to the younger me, to the younger me with my experience of today. So sorry, Rosita, I have to ask you please to change to move this forward the slide, please. Thank you very much. So I wanted to say a few words about my journey in life, but Mark, you have really given a thorough presentation of my through my bio of my life. So I don't think there's anything more really to say, except that in addition to the experience that I had in the Port of Marseille, I was also led, in fact, to work with the port community. This is something that I missed out in writing in sending over my bio, and it is extremely important when working in this business, working in logistics and transport, to ensure that we are really working in close cooperation with the other professionals in this field, and the port community, meaning whatever, port authority, the professional associations of forwarders, of shipping agents, of ship owners, if you have them, so on and so forth. We learn from them, and of course we become, I think, more efficient when working together. Rosita, please. So, writing to myself, to my younger self, I thought that I had at least 3 advice to put forward. Monica, don't let anyone tell you where you belong. I think that we instinctively know, really deep inside, what we like and what we dislike, and what basically we love to do and would love to do in our professional life. As far as I'm concerned, I think the advice that I will confirm to my younger self is, don't consider yourself as a woman or as a man. Go ahead, be a professional worker in your professional life, and be a solution provider for your counterparts, for your customers, for the people who will be contacting you for information or whatever. And being a woman, generally, we also have a family, and the advice that I'm giving myself is to be an accomplished family head. And this is very difficult, basically, for a woman who has a full professional life to go ahead and at the same time to be a mother, take care of the house, take care of the kids, etc. So it brings me to the point where it is so very important to build a character for ourselves, to learn from our mistakes. And this was pointed out by Maggie. Education is so very important. Never stop training yourself when you have the opportunity to do so. And it has been pointed out there are several opportunities in this respect. At the time where when I started to work in this industry, that was in Reunion Island, where I started working for MSc. I started from scratch, and really at that time there were no training possibilities in this specific field. And I was so very lucky, in fact, to have the professionals themselves from Reunion who taught me a few business things, some hints, some traps that were to be avoided, and I'm very thankful for that. Update your knowledge. I mean, this is a changing world, and we need to update what we think, what we believe as being something that is extremely important at this point in time. It can change overnight, and it's important to be updated on the way the industry is moving forward. Network. I mentioned the fact that I learned to create the synergy with the port community. Networking is so very important because we learn from our counterparts, we learn from our peers, and this gives us the power to choose when we have the knowledge, when we have the education, when we have the proper networks, when we have the training opportunities at our feet. This is extremely important and really allows us to move forward in a way that we decide to do so. Rosita, please. This sector is constantly in need of qualified people. Qualified people in every aspect. It can be a simple agent who is executing routine work in a warehouse, picking, assembling, and so on, but also management level skills, because this is a prerequisite for an efficient work. And I strongly believe that there are numerous jobs in this field. When looking at maritime transport, when looking at logistics, shipping agent, forwarding, logistics, land transport, river transport when that is possible, inland transport by train when that is possible. I also strongly believe that this industry serves the economic engine of a country. We are in this globalized world where business is driven by exchange of goods, whether this is by air, by sea, by river, whatever. Our economy is really powered by our capacity to build and offer the proper services that are required to harness the very minute competitive edges that exist in this industry. And that's the logistics chain. And I also think that it's an opportunity to build a really exciting career. This was my experience. I think that logistics and transport cannot be only a men's world. It is a world of opportunities. And the opportunities, as already mentioned, are numerous. And I'm sure that the presentations that will be delivered along the way will confirm this. Also, in my I'm sorry, Rosita, I just had one last point to add. Also, in my during the time that I worked in the port of Marseille, I had the great honor to join the International Association of Ports and Harbors, where for several years I chaired the communications committee, then the cruise committee, and this allowed me to learn a lot on policymaking, on best practices, on sharing knowledge, information between ports. I was also at ESPO, European Seaports Organization, the representative for French ports regarding the transport within the transport committee. And I think that when we are in this business, we should always look around to understand what is available in terms of networking, as I mentioned, but also in getting involved in those associations that are really so important for the industry and for sharing the best practices. I think that when focusing on the Indian Ocean, this is really a world of opportunity, an ocean of opportunities. Rosita, please. Thank you, Rosita. Thank you. An ocean of opportunities because this area is at the crossroads of international trade between the Far East and the West, between India and the South, Africa and Asia. When looking at the map, we can see how the Indian Ocean holds a strategic point in this respect. And really, the Réunion, Mayotte, Mauritius, Seychelles, Madagascar, these countries are mainly importing and not necessarily exporting that much, but still these islands are attracting large shipping companies because of the business and the trade exchange. So this can also create competition between the ports when looking specifically at some businesses like transshipment. But I think it's also great cooperation opportunities, and that goes far beyond logistics and transport, because this is already the case, by the way. I know that the Réunion Island has been sharing with Seychelles ports some best practices, and most probably also with other ports in the area. So this is beyond logistics and transport, but this can also offer some opportunities in terms of careers. When fighting this COVID pandemic, we understood how logistics and transport were essential in order to fight this pandemic. And I'm sure that, like here in France, women were and are at the forefront of this challenging chain. This requires the capacity to adapt ourselves. This requires a capacity to have this vision. This requires the capacity to be able to, how can I say, to carry out multitasks. And I think that we have this in us as women. We are in a complex world, in a versatile environment. We have to adjust our language when discussing with a customer, when discussing with if you are a forwarding agent, when you are discussing with a shipping agent or with a shipping line, you need to know exactly what you're talking about, and speaking the same language allows you to move forward efficiently. And this means demonstrating your capacity to be in line with your counterparts. And it comes back to training, it comes back to education. And as women, we already master this capacity when we are in our private life, if I may say so. So to conclude, I would like once again to thank you for giving me this opportunity. And of course, I'll be replying to your questions with pleasure if you have questions. Thank you very much.